Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining our latest customer webinar on the MITRE ATT&CK Adviser. We are very excited to get started. We're just going to give it another minute or two, and then we will get going. Hello, everybody. If you're just joining now, welcome. We're going to get started in about 60 seconds. Thank you. All right, Adam and Jacob, you guys ready to get started?
Let's do it.
Okay. Alrighty, well, welcome everybody to our latest customer webinar on the Devo MITRE ATT&CK Adviser. This is an incredible tool that all Devo customers have access to. We're very excited to showcase it to you today, do an in-depth demo, talk through the benefits and how you can start using it right away. So before we get started, just some general housekeeping. If you have questions throughout, please feel free to drop them in the Q&A box. We will either address them through chat or talk about them at the end. We'll have plenty of time at the end to address all questions. And then the last piece is that this is being recorded, and we will send out the recording to everyone who's registered. So if you have colleagues that aren't able to attend, they will get the recording in the next 24 hours. So why don't we get started? So some introductions. My name is Maggie Splain. I'm the manager for customer marketing at Devo. I work with many of our customers and do a lot of our programming for webinars and events. So very excited to have you all here today. Adam, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Adam Foyt. I'm the manager of technical marketing here at Devo. I work with Maggie very closely with both our customers and our field organization, and I will be doing a small portion of the presentation today.
And then Jacob.
Hey, everybody. I'm Jacob Bauer. Have played a number of roles here at Devo. Most recently, I'm actually a solutions architect, but I've also been a part of the technical acceleration team. Always really excited to be building new value propositions for customers and helping out, kind of figure out our vision. Happy to be here today to walk you through a demo of the application itself, as well as provide some overview of it. So I'm excited to be here.
Wonderful. All right, so let's dive in. So this is going to be our agenda. Adam's going to spend some time introducing the MITRE ATT&CK Adviser. What is it, as well as the key benefits and features. And then Jacob's going to spend quite a bit of time going through a demo, showing you guys kind of what this is under the hood. And then we will have plenty of time for Q&A at the end. So Adam, take it away.
Sure, Maggie. So first of all, for those of you who may not be familiar with the MITRE ATT&CK framework, what is it? It is exactly as the name implies. It's simply a framework which provides cybersecurity professionals a kind of common language that everybody can use when it comes to describing the type of attack and the attack life cycle, through the attack chain all the way through to completion. It helps security teams better understand how threat actors move through an environment and how an attack develops over time. This is also security analysts can come together and help collaborate better to prevent security attacks and create long-term defenses, not just, in an incident response type of situation, but in terms of prevention, security prevention down the road. So it's just a tool that is very common across all types of cybersecurity professionals, both in the United States and abroad, that helps defend against threat actors, because it helps get the defenders and the cybersecurity professionals thinking in the language that the attackers use, and tips in terms of the tips and techniques and tactics they use to spread throughout an environment. I'm sorry, next slide. One more, Maggie, please. Thank you. So these are the challenges that it addresses for security teams. This is why we've created at Devo. We were hearing from our customers that it's very difficult for cybersecurity teams to communicate to the business and other stakeholders what the current security posture was. And the reason for that is because most of us in cybersecurity, in terms of, we tend to think of our defense in terms of things like alerts and alert coverage, and what data sources we have coming in, and what kind of alert rules and analytics we have built to detect a specific type of attack or a specific attack tactic. And a lot of times, non-cybersecurity professionals don't understand things like alert rules and data source types and AI models, and how those translate to defending against certain types of attacks, which then, of course, increase your security posture. So there tends to be a big disconnect between, the way cybersecurity professionals tend to think of security posture and their ability to describe that to people that aren't in cybersecurity. So the MITRE ATT&CK framework does a great job of that. And what you're going to see today is kind of a visual representation of how we take that framework and map it to the ingestion of log sources, data types, alert rules, and all of the defenses that Devo brings to the SecOps organization in terms of threat detection and response. Next slide, please. So here is the MITRE ATT&CK Adviser. This is what it looks like. Jacob will show you a very detailed example of this here in a second. What you'll see is kind of a visual representation as these columns that show you the different techniques in terms of the MITRE ATT&CK framework. And then it shows you kind of at a glance where you have defenses built in against those specific types of tactics and techniques. So it helps you visually understand where you've got coverage, right? Where you've got data sources coming in that would help you detect a type of attack along those lines, and where you have alert rules set up in terms of detections against specific types of techniques in the MITRE ATT&CK framework. It also gives you a really good way to visually see at a glance what data sources you're collecting from and what data sources you're not collecting from, and maybe where you need to beef up some log collection. It's also a great way to describe that to other stakeholders. So you could say, well, hey, the reason we may not be collecting any data from these sources is it's too expensive or too difficult for our current solution to get that or our solution in the past, it was too expensive to get that. So that's one of the reasons we've just eliminated it. We certainly could add it in for X dollars or X amount of efforts. So it's just a great way for security professionals of all types, and even people that aren't necessarily in security, to kind of see visually at a glance where your coverage is strong, where your defenses are strong, and where you may need to beef up your defenses. By the way, as it says down there in the bottom, I want to point out that it is downloadable via the Devo Exchange today. It's been downloadable on the Exchange for quite a while, actually, and you don't need to download any licenses or pay any extra to get access to the MITRE ATT&CK Adviser application. You can download it from the Exchange and install it and start using it today, absolutely free of charge. Speaking of the Exchange, you can increase your coverage in the Adviser application by installing more alert packs from the Devo Exchange. We may not have an alert pack for every single tactic and technique on the MITRE ATT&CK Adviser, but we certainly have really good coverage across the spectrum. So I would encourage you, if you haven't already, to go through and look at those alert packs that are available to you in the Devo Exchange. You will see that when you install them, when you click on the alert packs in the Exchange, represented down there in those little tiles in the lower right-hand corner on your screen, if you click into that, it will actually show you, you can see what the data sources you need to have installed in order for that alert pack to be useful to you. So it's pretty easy for you to tell whether or not you've got the data sources feeding into your Devo domain that will allow you to leverage those specific alert packs. And keep in mind, you know, we talked a little bit about why we've done this, but what we found for people that have implemented the MITRE ATT&CK Adviser is that it certainly helps everybody improve their security posture, because again, it shows you at a glance where your defenses are really strong and where you've got good coverage and where you need to beef up your coverage. This also helps you outsmart your attackers by allowing you to start plugging the gaps before they start finding the gaps themselves. And it allows you to stay up to date. Remember, we're always coming out with new content on the Devo Exchange. We're always coming out with new alert packs that help bolster your security posture and the MITRE ATT&CK Adviser. So certainly keep in touch with the Exchange and keep an eye on that Exchange for new content that's coming out roughly every month that will help you improve your security posture. It also helps ensure data collection. It's easily to tell if maybe you thought you had some log sources there, but you actually don't have them coming into Devo, or maybe some log sources dropped off. And it will certainly help inform your analyst's workflow with the heat map and allowing to kind of visualize where the action needs to take place, where they need to respond based on the types of tactics being used against you in real time. And with that,
Awesome.
I think it's time to turn it over to Jacob.
Yes, it is demo time. I saw there was a question in the chat about mapping custom alerts to the MITRE ATT&CK Adviser. We are going to cover that in the demo.
All right, I'm going to be sharing my screen here. Can everybody see my screen on the MITRE ATT&CK Adviser website?
Yep.
Or sorry, on the MITRE ATT&CK website rather than the Adviser website. So thanks for that setup, Adam. So what I wanted to start with, right, was just a little bit more of a detailed click into the attack framework itself, the attack matrix, and kind of explore this a little bit. And then we'll pivot from that over to the tool. And we can talk about a number of ways that you can use the MITRE ATT&CK Adviser to assess your coverage, to look at fired alerts, and then we'll also talk about some of the customizability of the application today and what's coming in the future. So first things first, you know, what the attack framework is really a way to basically try and categorize and summarize actions that attackers are taking, right? Whenever we think about describing a human action, there's an infinite number of ways to describe how you do something, you know. But what you can think about the attack framework is kind of, you know, not trying to describe every single motion that a pitcher takes whenever they throw a pitch, but what kind of a pitch they're throwing. They're throwing a fastball or a curveball, whatever it might be. And what this framework is doing, the way that this is organized is from the fields called tactics run across the top here. And these are things that attackers are trying to achieve, right? They're trying to gain reconnaissance and gain information about your organization, or they're trying to take or achieve privilege escalation. They're trying to take a you know, unprivileged user and leverage that user's credentials to get access to something more, or to gain access that user didn't have before, or they're trying to exfiltrate and steal data. So across each of those tactics, that is then split up into what the MITRE organization is called techniques. And the techniques are how a person is trying to achieve that. So for instance, you know, one way to, you know, get to do reconnaissance is to send a phishing email, right? You send an email to somebody asking them, you know, hey, what cloud service are you working on? Or, hey, you know, let's try and get them to send you some information. You know, you try and achieve lateral movement by using remote services to attach to those external tools, or you try and, there are a number of ways that attackers can try and exfiltrate data. So as Adam said, really this framework is meant to help tell stories in kind of a standard way across a very broad attack spectrum. And, the MITRE organization has done their best to fit, all the various activities that attackers might take into these various protocols. In general, the story of an attack will tend to flow left to right across this matrix because, as you read the descriptions here, these kind of make sense. The first thing that you do is you go and you gather information about an organization. Then you start to gather more and more and more permissions or capabilities within the attackee's, infrastructure or system. And then finally, over at the right-hand side is the part where an attacker is actually going to start, causing some damage or actually start hurting you. They're going to be stealing your data, or they're going to be, shutting down your servers or doing something that will actually, cause a business impact. The whole framework is important, though, because the more we can be catching attackers on the left side of the matrix or preventing attackers from even entering the left side of the matrix, the less chance that they have to progress over here to the right side of the matrix. While we still obviously want to be monitoring for and detecting attacks that do get to that right side of the matrix, because those are the things that we probably have to be taking the most action to remediate, shut down, and kind of stop in their tracks as fast as we can. So what Devo has done with the MITRE ATT&CK Adviser is helped you figure out where you have detections that are monitoring for all of these different options. So what the advisor is showing here, this is the alert coverage section of the application. What this is showing is for all the various MITRE tactics and all the various techniques, where Devo offers out-of-the-box alerts and which out-of-the-box alerts you are leveraging today. So for instance, I can see within this demo account, I have fairly good coverage against reconnaissance. There are 4 techniques that Devo offers out-of-the-box alerts for reconnaissance. Out-of-the-box alerts, or I should say custom alerts, can be mapped here as well. And I'm using most of those alerts, right? I have one alert watching for gather victim network information. I'm leveraging 5 of 6 alerts for active scanning, etc. And so in general, I feel safe here, but there might be other places where I don't think I'm doing such a good job. Over here in execution, I can see that only a few of the techniques do I have good coverage, and some of them I have fairly low coverage or no coverage at all in terms of alerts that are deployed today. So this gives you a general overview of which alerts that you're using, and this can be a great visual summary to share. Ideally you'll have this be a little bit more green, but for the sake of the demo, we wanted to kind of show you a variety of examples here. You can export this as a PDF to review the coverage up above. Past that, down below, we have a much more detailed summary of which alerts actually map to the MITRE framework and how they do that. So let's say that I want to think about execution, and I want to be finding out why I don't have better coverage there. So I can come down here and I can drill into execution, and I can see all of the alerts that are available across execution within Devo. I can see for each alert whether or not I have the related data source for that alert. I can see the related technique as well. And then I can also see the threat groups that are associated with that, which we'll talk about in a little bit more detail. If I want to dig even more, dig in even further here, I can select the technique that I want to focus on. And I can see in this case, I have a number of alerts that are related to command and scripting that I don't have installed, even though they are available. And if I want to increase my coverage here, right, I can install this alert directly from the tool. I'm not going to do that today, but I could just click install there, and that would go and install it. And then from there, obviously, I'd want to go and review that alert either in the alert manager or the alert configuration, to be making sure that it's tuned and tweaked within my environment as desired, etc. But from right here, by installing that alert, I could improve my coverage right away, which is a few clicks of a button. That being said, not in every case am I going to be able to install that alert, because in some cases we'll have missing data, right? And this can be a prompt for you to, review what data you're bringing into the platform and explore that further. For instance, in this case, I see that I can't, leverage this alert because I'm not bringing in Office 365 data. So that might be something that I want to review. If my organization uses Office 365, I could be improving my coverage just by bringing in that data and then using this out-of-the-box alert. From there, what I'd like to pivot to is, if you are thinking that this tool is, this view is really meant to focus on kind of an alert-centric view of the world, right? This alert-centric view of the world is meant to help you find, hey, which alerts do I want to install that maybe I'm not leveraging today, or things like that. But we also have a more log source-centric view over here in the log source coverage page. Now, what this has is this helps you figure out which technologies and which types of logs map to various MITRE tactics and techniques, so that you can be evaluating which log sources should I be bringing in today that I'm not, right? So in this case, I can see, Cloud GCP, for instance, is a source that I'm not ingesting. It covers a large number of tactics and a large number of techniques, and it even covers some techniques that I'm not ingesting today. I can come up here and filter just to that log source, and I can see all the various places that Devo has out-of-the-box alerts for GCP data if I were to ingest that. If I do want to be thinking about, a technique-centric view of the world, I could come in and be saying, hey, I would really like some protection against modify authentication process. All I have to do is hover here, and I can see the related data source that I'm not ingesting. For any one of these, I can go and hover there and figure out which data sources I'm not ingesting today might be helpful to be giving more coverage against that particular technique that an attacker may deploy. So I'll move back to the alert coverage page now, just to touch on one final piece of information that we can review here. So the MITRE framework has organized attackers into what they call threat groups, which are basically different attacker groups that have been identified and classified by their organization. Now, MITRE has mapped each of these attack groups to the common patterns that they follow whenever they perform an attack. And if I'm concerned about one or more particular threat groups for my particular environment, I can go and select any of those threat groups from this drop down here. So let's say that I want to evaluate an attack from a group that I know is called Wizard Spider. Maybe I read a blog post about these attackers. Maybe I know that these types of attackers target my kind of company. By selecting that threat group, I can see the different techniques that these attackers often deploy, and I can view my coverage against this individual attacker itself to get a more kind of narrow focus view. Rather than looking at the entire attack surface, I can really focus at one particular vector of attack that I know somebody I care about might be taking. If I am interested, I was feeling very animal themed today, so I chose a second animal example. There's another threat group called Ember Bear, and I can add that threat group and or any other number of threat groups into this view to be seeing a general overview of how I'm protected against these collective groups of attackers. In the future, one feature that will be coming out is the ability to actually build custom groups of threat groups. So that would be, for instance, maybe there are 4 or 5 threat groups that we know often attack financial institutions, or 6 or 7 threat groups that we know attack, insurance companies or something like that. We could be providing a one-click selection that would let you select all of those threat groups in one go. So overall, this has kind of been the focus of the application. Help you assess your coverage, figure out where you might be able to employ out of the box alerts to improve your coverage, and or where you might be able to onboard new data sources to improve your coverage as well. That being said, while having detections across the entire matrix is really important, what you also probably really care about is where am I actually firing alerts? So that's where one of our newer features, the alert heat map, comes in. So what the alert heat map does is it actually takes the alerts that are firing in your account, rather than just the alerts that you have deployed in your account, and shows you where those are firing. In theory, if you had a perfect defense, this page may be completely blank. If everything is perfect, you'll never have any alerts firing, but that's a very unrealistic view of the world. And instead, what this page will show is, where am I actually firing alerts, and how does that map to the matrix? So I can see in this case, all the various places where I'm firing alerts. I'm firing alerts from kind of all across the matrix, and I can really focus in on the most common techniques or tactics that are having alerts firing. So over here, I can see that I do have a lot of alerts firing related to command and control. If I want to filter into this more, I can come over here, filter down to this tactic, and I can see that I have a particular alert called SecOps TLD from domain, not a Mozilla TLD. It's fired 413 times during the period of my evaluation. This might be something that I want to go and review. Possibly this is an attack that I care about that's targeting this particular vector, or maybe this is just an alert that I need to tune because there's actually some regular activity that's firing this alert that I should filter out via whitelist or via alert tuning. So that covers the basics of the application itself. The next thing I want to talk about is how you can take this tool and fit it into your particular environment a little bit better. The first thing that we often get questions about, and I think as Maggie alluded to, I think we might have already had a question in the Q&A about this, is how can we be mapping custom alerts into this tool? And the answer is that it's actually really simple. So all that you need to do, in this case, what I have is I actually have a custom alert that I wrote to make sure I could find it. I named it after myself, but it's called this Jacob's test alert. All I needed to do was to create this alert in the domain in any standard way that you can do that, whether you're using data search to build the alert there, or whether you're using the alert manager add-on to write the alert yourself. You just go and create the alert. There's no special requirements on the category or anything like that, or the alert. Any alert that you have in the domain is eligible to show up in the advisor. That said, the alert does need to be mapped to a tactic and technique, or we actually have the ability to map to multiple tactics and techniques. I'll refer you to documentation for that special case. But if you're looking to map an alert to a single tactic and technique, all that you need to do to get it to show up in the advisor is come here to the lookup called SecOps Alert Description, which should be installed if you install the alerts via the Exchange or any other way. And I just put in the relevant labels here, right? I said Jacob's test alert for my demo example is related to the tactic of resource development and the technique of established accounts. All I need to do is make sure that those properly map to the names that are in the MITRE ATT&CK framework. And boom, I can see that my alert is here. And if I go up and I look at resource development and established accounts, I can see that I have one of one alert installed here, which is what I would be hoping for, because out of the box, we didn't have any alerts here. So my new custom alert has grown my coverage and increased my mapping. A few other things to think about whenever we talk about customization. One feature that will be coming soon is actually the ability to mark various data sources as relevant or not to your organization. It could be possible that Cloud GCP is a source that I'm not ingesting, that I could be ingesting. And in that case, I really want to be evaluating, hey, what would I be gaining by using this data source? But maybe for my organization, we don't operate in GCP at all. And so I actually just want to completely exclude this from my analysis. so that I'm not seeing, hey, you're missing the use of this alert whenever that alert isn't relevant to me. So in the future, you'll be able to easily filter out those data sources that aren't relevant to you, so you can get a more accurate view of which relevant alerts you're making use of within your environment. With that, I think that kind of wraps up the summary that I was hoping to give of the application. I'm sure that there may be any number of questions that have come up while I've been presenting that I'd be happy to review. Is there anything else you were hoping that I could cover before I toss it back over to you?
I think that's great. We do have quite a few questions. We're going to wait until the end. We will cover them in about 5 minutes. In the meantime, I'm just going to go back to our last slide, which is just a plug for Devo Connect, which is our user community. So we have a whole section dedicated to the MITRE ATT&CK Adviser on our knowledge base. And this is where you can go to ask any questions if you're trying to self-serve. We have how to add custom alerts in here. We have some attack analyses. We have an overview of the MITRE ATT&CK Adviser itself. So any questions you have, this is a great resource for you as you guys start to explore this application. We also have people, experts on this tool, including Jacob at Devo, who are happy to help any of you with your questions, provide a demo for your team if you guys are looking for that, help map custom alerts, all of the above. If you are looking for that, reach out to your CSM and they would be happy to coordinate that. So with that, why don't we dive into the Q&A? So I will just facilitate these questions, and then Adam and Jacob, you guys can fight over who gets to answer them. So we had a question asking if we can export the data as a MITRE navigator layer. So when can we expect a JSON export option to release is the question.
I would, I'll have to check with product on that. I think it's something that has been discussed. I'm not sure where that lies on the roadmap, but I think it is a very relevant question. I will look to get a follow-up on that.
Okay.
Apologies for not having an answer.
No worries. I'm going to write down this person's name, and then we can follow up with them over email as well.
Yeah, okay. I don't have any knowledge there that Jacob doesn't have. I would only say I don't think it's on the quarter roadmap for this quarter. Yeah, that would be the only thing I would add there.
Great.
I think we answered 4, correct? How do you map custom alerts to the Devo MITRE Adviser? I think we got that. And I think really 5 is it's kind of the flip side of that question, right? If I understand what he's asking here, if I want to mark use cases that I've created and categorize them based on attack techniques, is that possible? And if I choose one of the techniques on the advisor, will the triggered use case that I have categorized appear on the bottom page of the MITRE ATT&CK Adviser? I think that's the same thing, which is if I create custom alerts, will they be mapped to the MITRE ATT&CK Adviser and show up on the advisor application? And the answer to that, of course, is yes. I think Jacob showed how to do that. Am I missing something, Jacob? Are you interpreting that differently than I am?
That's what I gather as well. We'll ask the person that asked that question to elaborate further if we didn't cover that. But that's how I would read it as well, as, can I leverage the tool on top of my custom use cases, where kind of use cases and detections, all kind of flow and fit hand in hand. So I think that's how you would categorize and fit your custom ones into the tool.
I'm sorry?
I see the next question. If you don't mind, Adam, I'll jump the gun there. And so the next question is asking, can I restrict the ability to install new alerts? And the answer there is absolutely. So the permissions within the application are all leverage the basic RBAC model that we have. So a user can have the ability to see which alerts are installed without the ability to install new alerts via RBAC. They can be granted access to the application independently of their permissions to install alerts. I will caveat that I'm not sure exactly what the app looks like for a user that doesn't have permission to install alerts. It may still show that button that says install alert. So whenever you click it, it should just return an error saying, hey, we weren't able to install this alert. related to that user's RBAC permissions, I would, I can explore that further, but I can say for sure that if a user doesn't have access to deploy alerts, showing them this application will not grant them any new permissions just because they are seeing that.
Okay, great. Next question is MITRE's knowledge base the only source we use for attackers and associated TTPs?
It is right now. I think that we're reviewing the ability to bring in to bring in more information to the tool, but right now we are focused just on MITRE and the tactics and techniques they've defined, as well as the threat groups that they have defined.
Okay. Next question is, in addition to being able to deploy alerts from the tool, can you expose the way the alert actually works for tuning purposes? I think they're saying within the tool.
Yeah, and I think that today that doesn't exist. I think that it would be good feedback for the product team that, we could certainly have a tooltip or something like that exposed the underlying alert logic. That being said, if you do install the alert, really the tool is meant for reviewing coverage, not necessarily for tuning and editing alerts itself. We point you to another part of the UI, either the alert configuration page or alert manager add-on, to be reviewing kind of the broad number of ways that you can tune an alert, whether it's editing the description, editing the underlying query, tuning some of the parameters related to it, like maybe the evaluation period or the grouping period or things like that. So I don't know if there are any plans to make that tighter integrated. I would just say that it's kind of more of a pivot from one tool that's focused to do one thing, kind of the MITRE ATT&CK Adviser that's meant to help you assess your coverage, to another tool, whether that's the alert configuration page or whatever it may be, to help you actually tune those alerts and really evaluate and review them.
Okay. Next question is about how many use cases there are in Devo. I'm not sure if this is specific to the advisor or Devo in general. If this person could just follow up. If you're looking for more general information, we can provide that offline.
I was anticipating this question was going to come up. A few people, I think, Anne showed me that there are 97 alert packs on the exchange right now. Of course, that's not just the number of use cases. Each one of those alert packs has several use cases. Could be as little as 3, could be as many as a dozen. So there are 97 alert packs, though, and all of those alert packs have use cases in them. So in terms of getting a quick total, I don't know, Jacob, of all available, is there a quick total, a way to total it up here?
It looks like within this environment, I think that this may involve some custom alerts, but we have 500 alerts within this domain that are mapped to the alert to the MITRE framework. So that's one out of the box number that I could provide as far as that. And I'll take a second to click into both the previous question and one that I see coming up as well while I'm here. So there was a question about how do I view the underlying query related to this alert, and I also see, can I tune and customize these out-of-the-box alerts or out-of-the-box use cases? So in this case, I have a log4 shell vulnerability. So if I install this alert here, I can say apply. This alert has now been installed. It's going to update the status of all of these, and I should see my coverage increase. From here, I can pivot over to whatever the tool of my choice to go and view these alerts. And like this, I can come over here. I can see my, I think that this was the one I just created. I'd have to double check here. Can come and look at this alert. Yeah, this is versus domains.all. I can come and look at this alert, and this is where I can view the definition of the alert, all the extra parameters associated with it, as well as kind of tune this query. So if I knew something, some custom exclusion, I'm not where domain does not contain my.custom.com or whatever it might be, right? I can make exclusions, add extra analysis, or customize this alert as I see fit over from this editor, or any number of other ways within the tool, such as the alert configuration page or whatever else it might be. That I'll stop sharing my
Okay.
screen and toss it back over to Maggie for the Q&A.
Another question, and I'm actually wondering if maybe we should share your screen, Jacob, and just show the Devo Exchange. There's a question about, does the tool allow you to explore related use cases mentioned? It might be interesting to just show the Exchange and how you can search everything in there. I don't know if there's anything more you want to add to that question as well.
Perfect. Yep. So I mean, yeah, I think that really, if you're looking for groups of related content, maybe related to whether it's pivoted more around data sources or use cases, the Devo Exchange is a tool that we have that lets you kind of browse all of the out of the box content that we have, whether that is dashboards that are available, alerts that are available, various things like that, various combinations of those things. So, this morning I was asked, what can we do if I were to ingest CloudTrail logs? So if I come in here, I search just for AWS CloudTrail logs, what I can see is, the AWS security pack has a large number of out-of-the-box alerts related to CloudTrail. So I could come in and install those various alerts. I also see that there are some various dashboards that leverage this data. So here's an active board, our name for dashboards that are related to CloudTrail. So I could click in quickly and install this dashboard and go and get a custom view, maybe a custom interactive view that lets me go and explore my CloudTrail data in greater detail. So I guess in that case, there's a number of ways. The Exchange is a great tool for exploring out-of-the-box Devo content, whether that is alerts or dashboards, whatever. And yeah, this can be a really useful tool for, I think, kind of exploring our out-of-the-box alerts in a little bit of a different way than the Adviser.
Yes. And someone asked if these alert packs or everything in here is separately charged. The answer is no. Devo Exchange, the MITRE ATT&CK Adviser, all of these alerts, everything in here is included in your Devo license. Okay, more questions keep flowing in. So someone asked, and I believe it was related to when you were clicking in the Exchange, will the alert lead you to the affected log and show recommended actions?
So within the tool, right, there's a little bit of a different section for each piece. So the alerts history page or, there are a variety of other, alert or case management tools that you might be using, whether it's leveraging Devo SOAR, which has a very robust case management that can do things like recommend basic actions or, possible remediations. Kind of within this portion of the tool, the alerts page shows you all the alerts that are fired within a domain. And from here, I can go and view things like view the alert details. I can edit the definition of the alert and things like that. And I can also go to the query that spawned this alert to go and look at the underlying logs that are firing this alert. So in this case, I can see that related to this particular alert that was fired, I can see the parsed data around all of these logs, the related IP addresses and various things like that. So for exploring fired alerts, I would point you over either towards this alert section, or if you are using kind of a more robust case management tool, whatever that may be, that will probably allow you to leverage the details of the alerts that have fired and the underlying related log that triggered that alert.
Great. Okay, I see a few more questions. Please feel free to keep bringing them in. Someone asked, how frequently do threat groups get updated in the Adviser?
I think that in general, Adam, I'm not quite sure if you know better, but I think in general we're pulling down the alert attack, and we're pulling down the latest information from the MITRE group about every month, though I'm not perfectly sure about that. They don't always make updates quite that often, so we kind of follow their flow of data, and sometimes. But in general, we try and keep up to date with the latest and greatest that they have published.
Yep. Great. We can always check in with the SciSec team too if this person wants more specifics. Okay, last question I'm seeing is, And I don't know, Jacob, if you addressed this, number 14. Do you see this one?
Let me look at this.
I don't want to repeat it if it's already been addressed.
So I think that in that sense, you know, if you don't want to install an out of the box alert and then map it again, you know, that's I guess that kind of goes to the custom one, where if I do have my own custom alert, I can just come and create a brand new alert like this. You know, this is how I created my Jacob's test alert. I don't have to edify or mod it or modify or edit. I apologize, I can't speak. I don't have to modify or edit an existing SecOps alert to get it mapped into the tool. You know, I can come in, define my own custom alert, write it however I want against the tool raw, and then you know, map that into the tool just by using this lookup over here. So hopefully that addresses that question.
Yeah, I definitely think, I just want to follow up on that. If you're taking a custom alert that you've created, particularly one that already exists, you definitely want to use the Alert Manager add-on. And Jacob and I did a separate webinar on this. Gosh, I think it might have been last year, right, Jacob? On using the Alert Manager add-on specifically for that purpose. So I definitely think that is the way to go in terms of taking custom alerts that you've created existing and mapping them to the MITRE framework.
Great. Okay, I think those are all of our questions. There's a couple that I have marked just to follow up via email or directly, just for clarity. And then if we also need to ask a few folks internally about things. So thank you all so much for attending. This was a great discussion. I loved all of the engagement and questions. Again, if you are interested in learning more about the advisor, please reach out to your CSM. They are more than happy to help provide demos, set up consultations, all of that, help you get it downloaded. Before we go, we just want to plug our 3rd annual SOC Analyst Appreciation Day is happening this October 18th. It should be a great day of virtual programming, all about, you know, recognizing SOC analysts, talking about, you know, burnout, mental health, you know, job career progression, all of that. We have some amazing guest speakers. John Hammond will be doing a keynote, so we're very excited about it. We're going to start promoting this, so this is available to all Devo customers. We highly recommend you join. We also are sending out limited edition swag to our customers as well. So you'll see some emails asking you to fill out forms for that. So really excited for that, and hope to see many of you there. So thank you all for joining today. Like I said, we'll follow up on some questions directly, and you should receive the recording in the next 24 hours. So thank you so much.
Thanks everybody for the time today.